Oh, I'm Nash Levinsky and you're watching Break the Fake. They make them, we break them, and tell you everything you need to know. Well, hello there America, greetings from all of us European freeloaders. Break the Fake has entered the chat. And I guess I'll be bailing you guys out again, but I think you're being hoodwinked by the former KGB. Case in point, the Riyadh talks. First, the good things. The US agreed to help Ukraine find abducted kids taken into Russia, as well as facilitate prisoner exchanges. Also, in principle, stopping infrastructure attacks will be a good thing once accomplished. If it works, Donald Trump can pat himself on the back. Now, for the less successful part. Did you notice how much of the stuff agreed upon in Saudi Arabia favors Russia and not Ukraine? You see, Russia has a plan, and they are not being honest. This is the moment when I should say, Alexa, play Just Pretend by Bad Omens. You know, I can wait for you at the bottom. I can stay away if you want me to. I can wait for years if I gotta. Heaven knows I ain't getting over you. Yeah, because Russia might stay away for a while, for years even, but the final goal remains the same, and it's not pretty. Meanwhile, the likes of Sergei Lavrov seem pretty happy already. I wonder why.
Мне кажется, наши американские партнеры этот сигнал восприняли. Они понимают, что лишь Вашингтон может добиться позитивных результатов в прекращении терактов, прекращении обстрелов гражданской инфраструктуры, энергетической инфраструктуры, не связанной с военно-промышленным комплексом.
You know, I somehow suspect that Lavrov's use of the word signal was not entirely accidental here. Also, Russia being worried about civilian targets, that's new. Remind me what exactly happened in the Ukrainian city of Sumy yesterday? 100 people wounded? How? In addition, Russia has apparently been voicing total non-starters during the talks, like full legal control over occupied territories of Donetsk, Luhansk, Zaporizhia and Kherson. Pub quiz for Steve Witkoff. What was wrong with the referendums that Russia held there? Say the line, Steve. The referendums were a sham. Brilliant. Fantastic. But Russia claims it is their land now, and it won't give it back. Also, to the idea of American ownership of the Zaporizhia NPP, the Russians say it's impossible and you can essentially all get lost, because Moscow never gives away any stolen property, especially nuclear power stations. It's the art of the deal versus the art of the steal. But did the US apply any pressure on Moscow? Well, that's the thing. The latest messaging push insists the US will help Russia get back onto the global food and fertilizer market. Excuse me, whatever happened to the devastating consequences Trump was recently talking about? Also, Russia now wants the UN to get involved. Great, more sloth-like bureaucracy is exactly what we need. At the same time, Moscow keeps sneakily driving a wedge between Washington and Europe, playing divide and conquer, and buying time to regroup. And honestly, you guys over at the Houthi PC small group might hate what you call European freeloading, but wait till you witness the ultimate freeloaders in Moscow wasting your time and effort at the negotiating table. As the aforementioned song goes, will you wait me out or will you drown me out? You think the Russians are negotiating, but they just pretend. Russia's propaganda machine never misses a chance to push its narrative wherever it finds an opening, and this time it squeezed its way into Udine, Italy. Despite growing European resistance to Kremlin-backed disinformation, it seems local authorities lacked the determination to shut the whole thing down before it started. Margarita Simonian, the ever-enthusiastic propaganda queen of RT, otherwise known as Russia Today, wasted no time in gloating over the event's so-called success. In Udine, Italy, there weren't enough seats for everyone who wanted to watch our documentaries, Maidan, The Turn to War, and Donbass Children. Of course, Simonian's version couldn't be complete without a dramatic enemy appearance. And again, I quote, "As usual, a bunch of goats waving Ukrainian flags tried to disrupt our screening."
Teniamo il nostro destino nelle nostre mani e non lo affidiamo ai guerrafondai di Bruxelles e di Berlino, se noi non lo facciamo saranno guai veramente grandi, molto più.
So look, according to Simonian, the Italian government is furious that their citizens are supposedly turning off Russophobic propaganda on TV and rushing to watch RT films instead. So much so that a Democratic Party MP even asks Parliament to intervene and ban the screenings. And what does RT, otherwise known, if you forgot, as Russia Today, do in response? Well, double down, of course. While they figure out what to do with us, we're organizing an additional screening for those who couldn't attend. End of another quote. Because when it comes to Russian disinformation, getting banned only adds to the mystique and myth of their censorship struggle. It's the same old playbook, really. Create outrage, cry victim, and pretend that any opposition is proof of Western hypocrisy. For now, Udine has learned a hard lesson about the costs of underestimating Kremlin influence operations. The real question is, how many more European cities will have to learn the same way? Now, in yet another bizarre spectacle of Russian propaganda, officials in Yekaterinburg unveiled a 16-meter monument shaped, wait for it, like a gas pipeline. Taking place near the Church on Blood in honor of All Saints Resplendent, incidentally the site of execution of the last emperor of Russia by the Bolsheviks, the event was accompanied by a song about the pipeline, supposedly commemorating the way Russian soldiers entered the town of Sudzha during the battle with the Ukrainians for the Kursk region. The tone of the ceremony, somewhere between surreal and outright absurd. Let a brief quote serve as a teaser here. Pipe is a Russian word. Pipe means pipe. Well, the Russian rock scene ain't what it was, I guess. As for the performance, I'll have Spirit Box over that any day, but I guess many Russians would actually prefer this thing. Anyway, this statement that you've just heard, uttered with an apparent sincerity, summed up the entire atmosphere, a mix of nationalist chest-thumping and unintentional comedy. It's hard to say which message the Kremlin wanted to push more, a tribute to Russian infrastructure, a nostalgic ode to the golden age of gas blackmail, or just another desperate attempt to glorify the war effort with whatever symbols are still available. Now, all of this is especially detached from reality, given that most of the Russian troops who attempted the pipeline ruse did not survive. Some suffered chemical burns to their respiratory systems, or even suffocated while crawling through the pipe, and the rest were eliminated by the Ukrainian forces once their presence was detected. If nothing else, all of this serves as a perfect metaphor: hollow, oversized, and full of hot air. And with this, we conclude this episode of Break the Fake. Please stay with us here on TVP World for more latest news and updates.